Hey everyone, welcome to my 2020 Musa skill combo and gear guide. Planned on making this new guide in hopes to help people understand Musa and play it at a higher level. Most all the feedback that I have received from my previous guides and my comments in the official discords like the Musa Discord or Blader Pub has been very well received, and people for the most part respect my thoughts and opinions on the class. So I do believe that what I'll be showing you today will continue to be very useful in the future as well as right now. And a quick disclaimer is that this is not for Succession. This is for the traditional pre-awake and awakening styles for Musa. I've tried Succession out for myself and I just don't like the play style, but I do think that it is viable and it has good use in most aspects of the game. But I just personally I find it to be too predictable and limited. And yeah, that's about it. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into things. Okay, the first things that we are going to look at will be skill add-ons as we usually do in the previous videos. So let's go ahead and take a look. I do switch my add-ons probably almost every day, depending on if I'm fighting people in the GVG, Node Wars, or if I'm grinding, trying to make money. But my pre-awake things for the most part stay the same. For Dragon Bite, I take 20% crit, 7% attack speed. Blind Thrust, I take all defense 10 with 7% attack speed. Rising Storm, I take 20 monster AP and 10% attack speed. You can switch this out for something like Blooming if you're doing PvP. And you can take PvP attack 15 and anything else like attack speed. I just take attack speed on everything so that you always have it procced. And yeah, those are pretty good for pre-awake. Awakening add-ons, we have a lot of choices as well. These are what I choose for PvE. If you're doing a place like Histria, Star's End, or Cycria, the underwater ruins, you may want to change below the belt to something like projection with 30 AP and like 5 accuracy, something like that. If you want to do that, that is a good option. It's a little bit stronger. Crosscut. If you're doing PvP and you want to crosscut out on, you can do PvP attack with like attack speed, obviously. Counter assassination, I have the PvE setup, which is all defense, all accuracy. If you want this in PvP, just do PvP attack, and you can choose either the accuracy or the all defense, whatever you want. I'd probably choose the all accuracy, just as a follow-up so that your next skill can hit harder. There's other good things you could use, like Crust Crusher. I see people use this before. I've tried it out. PvP attack 15 with 20% crit rate, so that it follows into your foul play and makes it quite a bit stronger. That's a good option. I've seen stuff on Dash Slash before. I've seen Backflow with the 20% crit and a 7% attack speed debuff. Below the belt with the PvP setup would look kind of similar with like PvP attack and a movement speed debuff of 10%. Really good options. As I said before, just tailor your add-ons to your play style, whatever skills you find yourself using a lot, and whatever combos you're doing in whatever scenario that may be. So just explore things, switch it around, and take whatever you want. All right, so let's talk about all the buffs that you are going to want to use on Musa, or you may possibly use throughout the game. So for PvP and PvE, for the most part, you're going to be using the combination of the Giant's Draft and the Exquisite Cron Meal. It is pretty much the best thing you can be using everywhere outside of places like the underwater ruins, Cycria, Histria, and Star's End. So for those places, you have the options of using the Frenzy Draft and the Spirit Perfume, because it will give you more damage against targets that you can't CC all the time and proc like down attacks and stuff like that. So the Spirit Perfume elixirs and the Frenzy Draft will give you go to resource recovery for your HP, your WP, and it'll just give you more damage overall in those places. You also want a Villa Invitation, so if you have a tent, you can actually pick your buffs up from anywhere, and you have a lot of different things you can get. So you have the Turning Gates, which is the life buff. You have the Body Enhancement, which gives you your AP, your resistance, your ignore resistance, and your HP. Really good buff. Pay the 1.5 mil and you get it for 90 minutes and use it all the time when you grind. Use it in PvP, use it in Node Wars, use it all the time. Really great buff to have and always use. Costs you really nothing. You'll make your money back in 2 minutes anywhere you grind. Destruction Spirit Stone. These are disposable, really cheap. They cost 800k to 1 mil. Use these up until you get a Vel's Heart. Very good to get all the buffs you can from these. Has 50 Dura, so it'll last you a while. Obviously for your potions, the WP Potion Larges and the Instant HP Potions. Use these on your hotbar all the time, or if you have a fairy, you can throw them in here. I use mine around like 85 and 60 depending on what I'm doing, or in PvE I'll put it down to like 55 or 60 for the HP depending on what I'm doing. But yeah, that's pretty much all the buffs you're going to use. With all those, as you can see, I have the Giant's Draft and the Exquisite Cron. I'll be capped on attack, movement, and critical with whichever main hand I'm using, whether that be a Black Star Blade, Offentet, or a Zarka. So I'll be capped on all of that. You want to be capped on all those in pretty much every situation. Alright, so next up is the gearing guide. This is something that I haven't done in my previous videos, and I get a lot of questions about it all the time, so I thought that I'd include it in this guide to help put you guys on the right path and show you, different possibilities of what you can have in each slot. To start out here at the top, we're going to go with the Pry Heave Helmet. I use Heave over Gruntle just because the HP, in my opinion, is, I don't know, I think it's just a better stat than having a few hidden AP. I think it's more noticeable, and it's something you can actually see and feel. As far as the crystals, we're using the Experience Crystals because you don't really have any other options. I mean, you could use Harpias for HP, but you really don't need it. Just plop 2 of these in there for 20% XP and you'll be progressing a lot quicker. Next is the Roaring Magical Armor. I use the Abundance Resonance Crystals in here. They give 50 WP apiece, and it kind of emulates having a dim tree. So it feels a little more fluid when you're using your skills, comboing, doing PvE, whatever it may be. You get the Roaring Magical from, I believe, a side quest after you complete the main quest line. Maybe Medaya quest line as well, I forget. But that should be your primary goal. If you're going to ask me the question, what should I be doing to get to level 55, 56, whatever it may be, do your main Black Spirit quest line. It's 200 or so quests, and it unlocks the further quest lines that you'll get, which are like the Medaya, Valencia, and the Camisylvia quest lines. So you get really good stuff from those as well, as I'm about to show you, this being one of them. So the Red Sand Crystals, the Rock Heart Belt, and the Forest Eye Earrings. These are the new rewards from the Medaya, Valencia, and Camisylvia quest lines. If you are an old player and you've already done those, all of these items will be in your mailbox. You can claim all of them. So what these are, they are pretty decent quest accessories that you can actually enhance. So the enhancement materials are obtained from, I believe, side quest daily missions that you get in each of those regions respectively after you've done the main quest lines. So if we take a look at this video I have here, this guy's enhancing the earring here. You don't even need fail stacks. The base rates are really high, and these can't be destroyed. So you get like a free AP for each level, and they're really good. I'd keep them around duo, but to start off at base, this is what I would go with. For the glove slot here, we're going with the Pry Heave for the set bonus, and we're using an Assault and a Valor Crystal just to cap on stats. Duo Asula Crimson Eye Necklace. You can use a base one here, but you can also obtain a duo from a built-in quest line at Abandoned Iron Mine now. At a lot of the Medea spots, when you go into them now, you'll see a charge bar like the top right of your screen, and it'll say kill a certain amount of monsters and you get the reward. Some of the areas you could try Asula, some of them you get duo. So go ahead and use this if you get it. And for the rings, you can use Asula rings until you get these as well. Very good options. Offhand, we're going with the Pry Ultimate White Horn Bow. There's no reason to use the Black Horn Bow for accuracy in 2019, 2020, whatever it may be. Just skip it. Use this until you get Kudum. Throw a crit crystal in it. That's all that needs to be said. Black Abyssal Blade. You get this after doing... what quest line is it? I think it's the Medaya quest line, or just being level 55. But you do this quest, and it's called the King of the Fighters quest line. If you guys just look this up, you'll find guides everywhere on how to get this thing, but it's really good. It's kind of equivalent to like a Pry or a Duo Zarka. Throw 2 precision crystals in it for the 20% ignore res and 16 accuracy, and you're good to go. Like I said before when we were looking at buffs, Destruction Spirit Stone, put that on for the buffs. Disposable, cheap, really good to use. Rock Heart Belt, that's another one of the quest items we'll get. Until you get this, you can use an Asula Belt. Prize, Strength Shoes of Heave, ultimate as well. All of these are ultimate. To make them ultimate, you just use a Reform Stone on them. If you enhance them yourself, you can buy those off the market, the Ultimate Armor Reform Stone. If you're buying it, you'll have to buy one as well, but they're not too hard to get. I think they cost 5 mil a piece, and they give you a good amount of sheet DP. We're using Endurance Crystals in the shoe slot here for 300 stamina. Stamina just makes Musa feel a lot better, trust me. You're going to want those in your shoes. Foresight Earrings, those are from the Camisylvia quest line. You'll get 2 of them. One from Camisylvia 1 and the other from Camisylvia 2. And these all enhance like was shown in the video. You can use Asula earrings until you get these. Alright, moving along, here's the next step in the progression here. As you can see, we have tried all of our Heave armor. I didn't mention before, but the 3 set effect on Heave and the 2 set effect are really good. You get 250 HP and 50 HP. So you get a lot of health, and they're really good items. Okay, so moving along here, we have all 3 of the Heave at Try. I didn't mention before, but Heave has a really good set effect, being HP. So for 2 of them, you get 250 HP, and for having 3 of them equipped, you get another 50 HP. So, you know, really good armor pieces, like I said before. Everything else is the same. You're going to get the Ring of Power. It's another side quest line. I don't know what it's called, but if you look it up, like I said, just a quick Google search, you can easily see what quests you have to do. There'll be videos on how to do it. It's a really easy quest line, and it's 11 AP equivalent ring. It's equivalent to a dual crescent ring, which is roughly around like 350 to 600 mil, depending on when you buy it and what server you're on. These, we're going to take all of the quest line accessories up to duo. We're getting 2 HP on each of them, making them really efficient, especially the earrings and the belt. The 10 AP belt is just 1 AP shy of a duo Bassi, which costs a lot of money. Crystals are staying the same in those. We're taking the offhand up to Try, same crystal, we're just getting more AP. At this point, you're above level 56, obviously, working your way towards 60 or 61. Pick up the Iron Crescent Blade for PvE. Don't worry about the blue one. Don't worry about Dandy yet. Use this, it's really efficient. If you really want to, you can spend just a really low amount of Caphras. If we look here at this Caphras sheet and go to Base Green Mayhem Awakening, which is Cron Key 4, and then we go to Try. Level 1 costs 6 Caphras, it's 12 mil, you get 1 AP. 15 Caphras, 2 AP, you get the point. If you really want to, you know, put 1, 2, or 3 into that, you'll use this for a while. If you really want to, that's up to you. Black Abyssal Blade staying the same. Obviously the quest accessories are all going up the duo, and that's about that for the next succession step here in our gear. Alright, moving along now. We're picking up our first 3 boss pieces of gear, which I think are most important in progression and for helping you make money. And those are going to be the Beg's Gloves, the Zarka Blade, and the Kudum. As far as the order of which you should obtain these items, I would go for the Zarka and the Begs first, whichever you can get. They're both great. They give you a lot of accuracy, which is much needed on this class, and in PvE and PvP. So get either of those, put the same crystals in them, good to go. Kudum, we get another crystal slot, and we get a bunch of AP versus monsters. Throw another critical crystal in there, nothing else you should be using at this point. And we're also picking up a Pry Ogre. So you could go for like a Syrup's Necklace, but I think that item is kind of a noob trap at this point in the game. Accessories have crashed dramatically, I think across all servers, just because of the state of the game and how many people are grinding and how many ways we have obtaining them now with daily rift boxes and stuff like that. So doesn't cost too much, gives you 15 AP, and it's technically a best in slot item, which you can use to you know, tap for duo to go for your next step in the future, or sell it to have money towards your next necklace. So good to have in my opinion. You should be around 61, I'd assume at this point. Really easy to progress nowadays, and 61 should be one of your main goals. You get a Try equivalent ring for 14 AP, and as I said, everything else is the same at this point. Okay, in the next step here, as you can see, all we've done is take all of our new equipment up to Try. So try Begs, try Zarka, try Kudum. Try Kudum's now going to give you 43 AP against monsters, and with 196 AP, you're really just going to be shredding all zones you're training at. So if we look at our AP throughout all these steps here, right? If we go from like 156 to 192 to 190, around this area, 190 AP, you can kind of kill anything you want. You can be training at Gahaz, Fogans, Nagas, Polys, whatever you want to kill out of those to push for XP and money. All of those are good places. Besides, if you want money, Fogans and Nagas probably aren't that great, honestly. Gahaz is good though. Polyforce is also another really good spot. Now that we are level 61 or above, we have good AP, we've been making good money. We're at 196 plus with the Tri-Kudum, so we're kind of shredding all the zones we're at. We're going to be looking to get a Dandelion Awakening Weapon and a Duo Ogre Ring. So the Duo Ogre is just going to give you another 5 flat AP for your pre-wake and your awakening, really good. And the Dandy is going to take you up a big notch. You're gaining like almost 20 AP and going up to 214. So that should be your next goal, get your Dandy and maybe push your necklace up the Duo. Alright, so moving along here, we're picking up the 3 remaining pieces of boss gear, being the Dimtree armor, Giet's helmet or Griffin helmet, and the Uragon shoes. You should not be using muskins on Musa at all. We really don't have any reason to be using those unless you're really endgame gear, like 600 plus gear score, and you're using something like Lieber's muskins with a Penheave helmet and maybe a DP offhand or something. That's kind of the only way it's viable. You're way too squishy and you blow up if you're using muskins really at any point. So for your helmet slot, you can use a Gaiath or a Griffin helmet. The differences are very minuscule, as I have told you before. If you go with the Griffin, you get 5 hidden DR and 5% all resistance. If you go with the Gaiath, you get 100 HP. You're not going to notice either of them. You're not going to be like, oh wow, I got hit. That 5 hidden DR really saved me there. That's not going to happen. So use whatever you want. Gaiath is half the price, so I choose to use that. It's really good. Not really much a big difference between what you choose. Choose whatever you want. Dimtree, as you see, I took out the abundance and I threw Kobe's in there, the Cobalinus crystals. That's going to give you 200 more health. You can continue using the abundances if you want, but personally I wouldn't. I'd put these in there, or maybe even a black magic crystal of vigor. These right here with the 50 HP and the stun stiff res. Those are good too. They cost about the same price, and everything else is the same. Our next goal should be to tet all of our weapons here. As you can see, I've been putting a big emphasis on just obtaining more AP. You really do not need DP for 99% of the PvE content in this game. You're just going to be one-shotting and two-shotting mobs up until you get to like Akhman or Histria, places like that. So you're almost never going to get hit, and when you do get hit, it doesn't really hurt you at all anyways. So with the Tet Kudum, the Tet Danny, and the Tet Zarka, we're just taking things at the next level. We're getting up to 224. We're getting more monster AP on the Kudum, and we're also going for best in slot crystals on all of our gear at this point. So I'm going to use the Corrupted Magic Crystals for the crit. The crit's best in slot for PvE. Gloves, we're going with the Jin Vipers for the accuracy. 40 accuracy we're picking up there, and 1 attack speed in each of those as well. The Dimtree, you can use the Han Macalods, or you can use Han Hooms. Honestly, the Macalods are going to give you a bit of combat XP and some stamina, and allow you to just keep pushing faster and get more XP. So I choose to use those. I have used them in PvP and Node Wars as well quite a lot for a long time, only for stamina reasons, and it's really up to you what you want to use. The Han Hooms, obviously they're going to give you DR and HP, but as far as how effective those are going to be, if you're getting caught in Node Wars, if you get CC'd, you're going to die. If you're in 1v1s, if you get CC'd, you're going to die. 300, 400 HP is going to make no difference. You're going to get overkilled by thousands of HP anyways. That's just my thoughts on those things. So choose what you want. For the Zarka Blade, precisions are there, and I use Jin Histrias in my shoes for the 350 stamina that they give. It's a lot of stamina. So with a build like this, with a good enough breath level and food and draft, you're going to be looking at like 3,000 to 3.3 thousand stamina, somewhere around that range. Okay, moving along, you're probably still on your way to 62 around this point, and you're looking to get your next upgrades. However, they cost a lot of money, so those next upgrades you should be looking for would be your tri or soft cap accessories instead of your Tet armors. This is what I did, and you're still at the same spots at all of this AP really. At 242, you can start doing mansions, which are basically just reskin Gahaz. They die in 1-2 hits. You're gonna blow through them really quickly. If you really wanted to, you could try Ackman at this point as well, and you'll also do fine at Ackman. If you do want to grind Ackman a lot though at this AP, you probably want to switch these for adamantines in both of these, and I forget what this one is, intimidation. So if you run these, you'll have 100% KD res, and you'll never be knocked down on the floor if you're at Ackman. You'll only be stunned or stiffed, and you'll be a lot safer. But at 242, honestly, you'll probably make better money and more XP at somewhere like mansions or polys or whatever else it may be. So we're going for the tri ogre, the tri Bassi belt, 1 Tet witch, and 1 tri crescent ring. So the reason we're getting the 1 Tet witch is because we plan on getting 62 and getting the Kaposha earring in the other slot. The next stop here is level 62. As you can see, we picked up the Kaposha earring, and we took all of our armors and enhanced them to Tet, or we bought them. So whatever you choose to do, enhancing or buying them. I choose to buy all of my gear. I have people ask me all the time, why do I choose to buy my gear? I personally have never had good luck with enhancing, and I don't like enhancing. There's fail stacking involved. It just takes a lot of time, and it's daunting and boring in my opinion, and I just don't like to do it. So I rather have a 100% chance of obtaining whatever I want. The downside is that it takes a lot more time, but I'm okay with that. I play the game a lot, so I don't mind saving up money to get whatever I want. I'd rather do that than have a slight chance at spending a few days making money, or even a few weeks, and then having a small chance of getting what I want. I'd rather just get it all the time. I forgot to mention as well, at this point, we are probably going to be looking into doing our Igor Bertali's adventure log and our Deeps encyclopedia, maybe even your Herald's journal, but all of these are just going to give you a really good amount of sheet stats, as well as some good fail stacks, I believe. I think you get 100 stacks from both Deeps and Igor's. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe you get 2 100 stacks, or a 100 stack and an 80 stack. It's something like that. But completing these will give you a good amount of AP. You don't have to do the 15th book if you don't want to. It just gives you evasion, health, and like 2 weight. But still good to have if you do it. It's not too much work. And these are all things you can do with very minimal effort. They're kind of just like annoying little quests. You got to go talk to people and bring random items, stuff like that. But it does add up. Those sheet stats you get are very important, and as your gear gets to this point now, each gain costs a lot of money, so it's basically free stats. Okay, we're approaching endgame at this point here. So what you're looking at now are your Tet accessories to take you beyond soft cap and above 269 AP. So your order at which you should be getting these, probably your crescent rings or your ring slot is more efficient. Work on your earrings last. As always, the earring is a very inefficient slot as far as AP to silver goes. Costs too much, and you really don't get a lot out of it in that slot. As you can see as well, we upgraded to a Vel's Heart. That's 3 AP, costs around 6 to 7 bill, depending on when you can get it. There's events going on. It might drop to 5-ish bill. So pick that up around the time you're working on your belt and your rings. Maybe look into a Vel's Heart before you do Ogre Ring. Ogre Ring, obviously, it has, you have Leighton, you can do that. Not really a reason to go for Tungrad necklace unless you intend on getting Tungrad accessories in every slot, which is an option, but a very expensive option at that. Once we get the earrings, the belt, the Vels, and the Ogre, we'll look for our earrings. I'm just going with 1 Tet Tungrad earring because it takes you to 282. And we're also pushing our Dandy up to Kaffir level 4. If we look back here at when we get the Tet Dandy, we pushed up to C3, Kaffir level 3. Each level is going to give us 1 AP, and it doesn't cost too much money. We take a look at the Cafra sheet here. I'll link this in the description, by the way. There's probably better ones than this, but this is the one I've always used. If we look at Boss Awakening Cron Key 2, and then we go to Tet, level 1 is going to cost us 180 Cafras. Level 2, you know, 480 minus 180, so 300, etc., etc. The most you want to take your Tet Dandy up to is going to be C4. It looks like I actually spec'd into C3 right at the point where we're picking up our soft cap accessories. So right around here, you can start looking into maybe investing Cafras into your Dandy. And then from here, we're going to move into like probably your end game gear, what you're looking at, and also what my gear is. So I'll see you there. All right, so this right here is what my gear is going to look like. So if you guys have been following my series, I recently sold all of my gear to get all the pen weapons you're seeing here. Black Star Blade being equivalent pretty much to a pen Zarka or pen Offen in terms of how hard it is to get and the stats that it offers. So yeah, so the pen Nuver, I will be making it fiery with the Garmoth's Heart. That'll be another thing you want to get way later on. Gives you HP and special attack evasion, which is a really hard to get stat and a really good stat to have. All of my armors are still TED at this point, but they are cap level 4. If we look back here to the previous one, all the armors here are cap level 3. So if we take all the cap level 3 off, you'll see that we gained 12 DP. So C3 is pretty efficient in your armors, and unless you intend on going for pen armors like right away after this, I don't know why you would. Really good to have, and doesn't cost you too much. So C4 is going to cost a decent amount of money. I think it's close to 1 bill per C4, but it's 4 sheet DP, which is really nice to have. And my accessories, I'll be going for Runes Rings, which are a step up from Crescents. They give HP in each slot. And the belt is also a step up from Bassi Belt. And then I'll pick up another Tungrad ring. Now with this build, I also have the option of going with a Tungrad ring in each of these slots, with a Tungrad belt, and a Distortion. Distortion will take away 4 DP, but it'll also give me more AP. And that'll take me up to 299 AP and 312 DP. So that's something I could do, but it's very expensive. It's like 20 to 30 bill, I think, to do that. And I will most likely just invest that into armors. So after this point, penning my armors or buying pen armors is what I'll be doing. I don't intend on enhancing my own, but we'll take all these to pen. So pen C0, pen C0, pen C0, and this is like your end game. And then at this point in the game, you're just pumping like money into Cafras and throwing it into your gear to become a god. So that's what it looks like, guys. If you have any other questions on things you should be using, alternatives, go ahead and leave them in the description, and I'll answer those to the best of my ability. Yeah, before you're working into this Black Abyssal Blade, you can really use whatever you want. People in the past have used like Rosar Blades, or what's the other one that has, is it Elsh? No, I don't think it's Elsh. There's one of the blades that gives monster AP. I don't know what it is. Uria, Try. Nah, I don't know what it is, but really use whatever you want until you get that Black Abyssal Blade early on, and you'll be set for a while till you start moving into your Zarka. But yeah, that's what all that looks like. So I hope that the gear progression guide here is useful to you, and we will start moving into the actual Musa skill and combo stuff next. Pen Heave is another option in your helmet here. However, you do need a Cafra level 14 in order for it to have the same DR equivalent as a Tet Griffin at base, I think. It's C14 is what you'll need, but it is a good alternative, and you can keep getting more stats out of it as you keep going, and it has a lot more sheet stats than a Griffin or Gaiath does. But if you get a Pen, Griffin, or Gaiath, in my opinion, I think those are better helmets, and I'll be using one of those instead of the Heave. Real quick, just to give you some more options early on, if you don't want to use these quest accessories, for rings, you can use things such as the Mark of Shadows at Try or Duo. For the necklace slot, as I said before, you can use a Seraps if you really want to. However, I'd advise staying away from it. In your belt, you have the Tree Spirit belt. You can use Duo Try. You have over here earrings. You have actually a lot of options. You have the Witch's earrings at Try and Duo. And you also have things like the blue coral earrings at Try and Tet. Don't cost too much money. Those are all good other optional accessories you can use if you want to switch this out of the quest things. Okay, so I guess we'll start with some basic like Musa techniques, things you'll be doing, such as like blocking. So in pre-wake, we have a standstill block, which can be achieved by holding Q down. Now, if we chase around and press Q, you'll see it takes a second to bring the blade to the top of her head to block, to bring our forward guard up. It's kind of slow. So if you dash and then press left click with Q, you'll pull your blade up a lot quicker. And you'll be able to move a lot safer and faster, like this. So that's a good thing to take note of. When we're in Awakening, we're only blocking when we're walking backwards. If you're standing still, you're not blocking. You have to be walking backwards like this. And we also have lingering forward guards, or lingering like blocks. So when we C-swap to pre-wake, we have a forward guard applied, and the same when we go to Awakening. So the forward guard on your pre-awake until the blade recovers at the point it is here in my hands. If we do that again, this is all forward guard until it goes in my hands. And for Awakening, this is all forward guard until right there at the end where the blade hits like my knee level right there, where it is right there. So this is also what all of our super armored lingering recovery animations look like. So this is all forward guard until it hits right there. So yeah, those are really good to know and use. Lingering super armors. These are things that not a lot of people know, surprisingly, but this is what they look like when you linger them. So we have Crosscut, we have Backflow, and Below the Belt, which are 3 of our super armors that can all be lingered. So what linger means is that you have the super armor effect of not being able to be CC'd and only grabbed until a certain animation ends. So what it looks like for Crosscut, here's the whole Crosscut animation. It's the same as a forward guard. As soon as that blade hits the knee there, the knee level, the super armor's over. So we can do this. This is all super armor. You can't be CC'd the entire time until it hits your leg there. For Below the Belt, looks exactly the same. You can sit here the entire time until it hits the knee. For Backflow, again, the same thing until it hits the knee. They're all the same animation, so it's not too hard to learn and very easy to see. Now, if you want to do like a whole super armor string, like this is all super armor, like your Crosscut into your Backflow into like Below the Belt. So you do like Crosscut, Backflow, you can sit in this lingered a bit, and then go in Below the Belt, and you can linger that a bit, and it's like a lot of time you can sit in a super armor. So use that in 1v1s or PvP to bait people. A lot of techniques and really just cool things you can do out of all those. All right, now let's talk about your skills again. Absolute Slice. This is going to auto level up to Slice X. Don't take the Absolute until way later on. Not a big deal. The same with Deep Slice here. It's just a bleed on your auto attacks. Make sure you lock your roll. This is completely useless, unsafe, and it'll get you killed. Your block, you can leave this at level 1. I have it at Absolute just because I have the points. Divider, I lock Divider. I don't use it. However, it is a useful heal in PvE at some points in the game, but I don't think it's very necessary. Backstep Slash, I have this at Absolute. You can keep it at Backstep Slash 3, but if you're doing PvE, something you don't need to worry about. It's not useful in PvE. Blind Thrust, I have Absolute Blind Thrust. I would go for this as one of your first Absolutes, as it's a skill you're going to use all the time in PvE and PvP. Nemesis Slash, this is another heal. I don't take it because it can easily be used out of like Fiery Crevice in situations where you don't want to use it. You use it on accident. It comes out of a lot of different skills randomly if you do the wrong input, so I choose not to use it. Blind Slash, this is another PvP skill, so don't worry about this until you get into 1v1s in PvP if you choose to use it. Not a lot of people use this, but I like it a lot. It is a float. Your Chase, obviously, you want to level that to max as soon as you can. That's our super armor dash. Whirlwind Cut, you can level this if you want for the melee DP debuff in PvE. And the Cyclone, when you shoot the Cyclone, it'll apply Grinder to all the mobs that the Cyclone hits. However, I do not use that. Your kicks, I lock all of these. Lock your upper kick, the regular F. The only one I do use is the roundhouse kick, forward F. It is a useful CC. If a lot of your CCs fail, you see your target resist it, so you can throw a kick out, and also just use it for like some style kind of stuff. Carver is useless, don't take it, not a good skill. Gale is a really good skill, one of the strongest skills we have. You can use this in PvE and PvP. It gets to the point where it just one-shots people when you CC them. Really good skill to have, Gale. I'll be showing you a lot of uses for that as well. Absolute Musa Spirit, pick this up as soon as you can. It's a WP recovery, and it lowers the cooldown with each level. Dragon Bite, pretty much the most necessary skill on our entire class. Use this all the time, PvE, PvP. It's your go-to CC in 1v1. Really good skill. The flows, don't use these. You can use them in PvE if you really want to. However, I don't see the point. Blooming, I've talked about using level 1 blooming and absolute blooming, or actually blooming phantom before. Level 1 blooming is just a single slash, but it's a lot quicker, so you get out of the animation faster. When you do full blooming, you're stuck in a longer animation where you can't move. However, it does more damage, it's 100% accurate, and it has a good drain on it. So it's a playstyle thing, choose whatever you want to use, and they're both good. Next is Rising Storm. You're going to want to take Absolute Rising Storm. Blaze is not necessary. I kind of just use it for another filler skill in PvE sometimes, but yeah, not really necessary. But Absolute Rising Storm is good to have. Not one of the absolutes you should rush for, so just keep it at ultimate for the time being if you're kind of low on points. Tiger Blade's a good skill to have, but if you're doing PvE, like I said before, you will not need this. It's a good disengage tool, gives you a lot of resistance and infinite dashes. Arrows, Absolute Stub Arrow, you want to take that. You want to lock your triple shot. It's not a good arrow to use. It also allows you to use instant stub arrows as well when you have it locked. Grapple Arrow, I personally don't use it. It's kind of like another one of those fun skills if you want to mess around with it. Your Charge Stub Arrow, you want to take this. Really good skill to have. It has an iframe on it, which is somewhat reliable, depending on if the game likes you that day. And the evasion is going to come along with it. That's the roll. Evasive Shot is something I use because you can do some arrow cancels out of it for some cool things I'll show you in the future here. And level up your sword training whenever you can. It's just free melee AP. Same with the melee evasion, the HP accuracy, and the AP versus monsters. You want to lock your rage transfer so that you don't accidentally press that and get yourself killed. And then lock your right Black Spirit consumption here. Okay, we're looking at Awakening. So this is what my Awakening kit looks like right now. I have everything except Flow, Extra Credit, Nemesis Slash, and Spinner leveled up. If I really wanted to, I can spec into Spinner, but it makes no difference. You never use the skill outside of the attack speed buff. This is your C-Swap. Fiery Angel is a really good skill to pick up. Good movement ability. It also allows you to do a hidden animation with Spinner for a much quicker attack speed buff. Your E, Musa Soul, you want that obviously. Counter Assassination Q. This is a really good skill, another staple skill in the Musa kit. A lot of really good things you can do with this, and a lot of good add-ons you can put on it as well. Fiery Crevice, you want to level this up. One of our greatest PvE skills right here. Crosscut as well. That's our auto attack and awakening. Projection, level this up probably last. It's just damage increase. Crusher, level it up as you can. Below the belt, you want to rush leveling that up every time that is available to you. I think it's like 58, like 56, 57, or like 56, 58, 60, something like that. But you want to max below the belt as soon as you can. Flow Dash Slash, this is a really good skill. You have to hotbar it though. I put it on 1, and I put my projection on 3, but my 3 is actually rebound to one of the side buttons on my mouse so that I can do some transition swaps that I'll show you later on in the video here. Twister is a good skill. You just press space out of Crosscut to get WP back. It's also got decent damage on it. Good skill to use. Musa's Resolve. This is my favorite CC pretty much in the game. It's It's really good. It's got a really, really large AoE, hits 10 targets and stuns them, and you can use it out of a lot of baits, like a lot of super armor baits and stuff. Really good skill. One step back, you don't have to take this for a while if you don't want to. You don't really use it in PvP. You can use it in PvE as like a filler skill. Backflow, really good skill to have. That's one of our super armors. You want to pick that up as soon as you can. Nemesis Slash, that's just a flow so that you can use it to have some awakening skills. Since we don't have it, we don't have the flow, obviously. And then Foul Play, one of our hardest hitting skills here. That's the follow-up from Crust Crusher, so obviously take this whenever you can. And Extra Credit is just another shot out of projection, which doesn't really do any damage. And it's not necessary for the Musa 100% ultimate either, so I don't take it. For your Rabam skills, there's nothing else you should be taking besides the ultimate Musa Spirit and QuickShot. The other two options are just not good. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the self buffs on Musa as well as skill add-ons. So to get any skill add-on, such as the one I have on Crosscut or Below the Belt, you have to hit a target. If I just use Below the Belt openly, I'm not going to get any buff. But if I use Crosscut, which also has an add-on, and I hit the target, I'm going to get my buff, which happens to be 10% attack speed. So that's how you proc your add-ons. You have to hit your enemy. Now for the self buffs, which don't have to hit anything, we have Rising Storm, which gives us 20 DP. We have Blind Thrust, which gives us 30% crit rate. We have the Shift X Rabam, which is going to be the crit and the heal, but it also gives us a 15 magic debuff, which stacks with the 20 debuff from Rising Storm. Then you have the Shift E, which gives us WP back. And then we have the attack speed buff from Spinner, which can be procced a few ways. So you can input Spinner like this till that swing. You get 10% attack speed. You can also get it from the hidden animation from Fiery Angel, which is what I do all the time, which is Fiery Angel into Spinner. You just input Spinner. You can see my key inputs on the left here if you want to see how you do that. It's just forward F for Fire Angel into your Spinner input, and you'll do the hidden cancel. So if you want to do it really quickly, like on the fly all the time, you just do that, and I'll get the 10% attack speed. So you can do it pretty much whenever you want. You've seen a lot of my videos, I'll just be fighting someone, and I'll look to find some space if I'm like in Ackman or something, and I'll just move around and I'll instantly input it like that to get the 10% attack speed. But that's pretty much the fastest way you can do it. Some people also get it out of Fiery Crevice like that. However, that's a bit slower. Okay, before we get into these combos, let's talk about the CC mechanics again. So if we go over what the CC limit is. So in BDO, there's a CC limit, which has a number being 2. So everything that CCs contributes to that number. Everything that is not a stiffness has a CC count of 1.0, and a stiffness has a count of 0.7. So once we hit 2.0, anything else that we use that has a CC on it won't apply the CC. So if we do a stun into a stun, that's 1 + 1, that's 2. And we try to use something else like a float, the float's not going to apply. It's just going to be a double stun. So to get the most out of every combo, we want to throw like a stiffness in between, or make sure we're using a good chain of skills that makes sense. So many skills have a Blind Thrust in it, which is one of our core stiffness skills, and it also gives us a crit buff. So it's really good to put into most combos. So for example, off an arrow stiffness, you might Blind Thrust, which is a stiffness into a stiffness. There's also a mechanic where if you use 2 stiffnesses in succession, they'll both apply, but they won't count twice. So it won't be 1.4, it'll still count as 0.7, which means you still have the option to use any 1.0 CC twice. So for example, if I use Blind Thrust, 0.7, right? I can use Dragon Bite, 1.7, and I can still float the enemy. What that'll look like on the target, we can even do it the other way. Dragon Bite, we see we get the stun, then we go in with Blind Thrust and float him. Target still gets CC'd. The thing is, you can't CC once you hit 2, but you can go beyond 2 if you're below 2. So if we're at 1.4, and then we use another CC that gives 1.0, being anything, a knockdown, a float, which are all 1.0 CCs, we'll be able to CC above 2.0. So same thing in a Gale combo. So if we Dragon Bite, Blind Thrust in a Gale, that'll put us at 2.7, but all the CCs apply. So because the final CC we used before the 2.0 CC limit. Now, a lot of the combos I will be using have dash slash incorporated into it, specifically the Black Spirit Flow dash slash, which is our BSR skill. It's 10% and it adds a lot more damage. You can see all your BSR skills by just pressing your rage down here at the bottom. I lock everything except usually the projection for the ultimate when I'm in Node Wars or open world PvP. I'll use that to kill people, really good skill. Other than that, I just use flow dash slash, which is the same input, but you also hold R&B, or you press R&B, so it just looks like this. Okay, now some combos. So these Gale combos can be played off really anything. So anytime you get an arrow CC or you hit them with Dragon Bite, you can follow up with Blind Thrust into Gale, which is going to do a lot of damage. So if we hit the arrow and then we forward Blind Thrust our target and then input Gale, then we're going to C-swap, Below the Belt, Fiery, and Dash Slash. Now, quick note is that Dash Slash is a attack that has down smash on it. So what down smash does in the CC mechanics is that it's a 30% chance to proc any skill that has down smash, and when you do proc it, it keeps the target on the ground for a longer period of time, meaning you can use more skills, right? However, it doesn't like extend your CC limit. You can only extend the duration of down smashes with more down smashes, and since we only have that one that's usable and reliable, that's all we have, so it's just dash slash. Now, another combo which you've seen before, all these combos I've shown you've seen before, but like I said before, we have so many floats. So you have Blind Slash, you have like your Fiery Angel, you have your Rising Storm, you have your Gale, you have your Projection, right? Like you have all these flows. So just because I'm showing you these combos, which are really good combos, you can experiment and do whatever you want. That's what I really like about Pre-Awakening and Awakening, is you have so many options. However you CC your opponent, you can kill them however you want. And this is more so true the more AP you get. You can actually kill people however you want, which is really, really cool, and it's why I enjoy the class a lot. Now, if we look at like a staple Dragon Bite combo, which is like Dragon Bite into C-swap, the full crosscut, twister, crosscut back, projection, Below the Belt, Fiery, Dash Slash. I probably said that too quickly, but I'll tell you again. What we do here is we Dragon Bite, and then we C-swap, we crosscut to the right, input twister, crosscut to the left, input projection, Below the Belt, Fire Crevice, Dash Slash. Now, whenever you have rage, just always get used to inputting your BSR Dash Slash because it does a lot of damage. Once you start getting past like 269 AP, you can honestly just start doing like, I don't even know if it's weird stuff, but like I do stuff like this all the time. Like I'll CC someone to Dragon Bite, I'll just C-swap, crosscut, Dash Slash like that, or Fiery Crevice, my bad, and then Dash Slash at the end. So I'll show what that looks like again, but when you have a lot of AP, you can just kill people however you want. It's like a Dragon Bite, and then I'll just do this into that, and that'll kill like most people I fight, honestly. We have some more stuff we can do with DB, like the projection combo. Or actually, there's like non-commit combos you can do. If you see that you're not going to kill someone, pay attention to their health. If we look back at the BT Gale scenario, so if we blind thrust into Gale, and then we C-swap, Fire Crevice, and then we see they have a lot of health left, just go ahead and C-swap and do a backstep slash to debuff them. So that when they get up, they have 50% movement speed debuff for 10 seconds, and it gives you time to just like self-buff back up, their CC timer to reset, and get ready to like try to catch him again, right? To go in for another combo. The other D-Bite combo I was going to tell you, like the Rising Storm and a projection thing. So we do like a Dragon Bite into a Blind Thrust, into Rising Storm, into a projection after that. So I have projection on my hotbar, as you can see. You can't do it if you don't quick slot the skill. So quick slot it and then either like press that button, whatever it's on. Like I have Dash Slash on one and then projection on my side button. So it allows you to transition from pre-awake. So we can do the Rising Storm into that and then we're straight into Awakening. And then, as I said before, you can do whatever you want. So generally it's like a follow-up of Below the Belt, Fiery, Dash Slash. That's generally a follow-up after a float. And yeah. Off Awakening, you have a lot of other tools to pick people off. Like you have the float off this. which you can do something like that. You have Crosscut Q. If you get a Crosscut Q stun there, then you can reposition behind the target. Always reposition to get back attacks if you can, if they're not going to get out of the CC in time. So just not too hard to do. You can just practice Crosscut Q and then dash. So note that your forward dash doesn't go through targets, but your back dash goes through anything. So you can backdash through people very easily. So like Crosscut Q, then I'm at his back. Cross Crusher foul play, and that's gonna send some guy to another realm, basically. Now some of the kind of like tricky CCs I go for in 1v1s, I do a lot of stuff out of linger. So I can linger below the belt, wait for someone to come in on me, around me, and then I can instantly shift Q, and then I can do anything off of that. I can shift Q, and I can like Cross Crusher, or I can float combo them, I can Gale them, I can do anything I want. I also do a lot of stuff with Backstep Slash because it's a very, very quick skill. So the gap, the hole to punish it is very small, and a lot of people don't see it coming. Not a lot of Musas use this in 1v1s, but it's a very, very good skill. So I can do it out of below the belt like that. You see how fast that is? Not a lot of people are going to react to that. And you can also do it out of a linger too. So like you can linger below the belt, and then I can do it, right? As soon as someone comes in. I also mouse move the skill quite a lot. Mouse moving is done by pressing left control or right control, but you're not going to press right control unless you have a third hand. So what we can do here is like below the belt, and then I can mouse move with the chase wherever they're at, right? To hit them with that. And that's a stiffness. So as with the stiffness, we can do anything we want off of stiffness. We still have 2 more CCs we can use. We can also use the Backstep Slash out of Dragon Bite, like this, for a stun into a stiffness, and then we can follow up with anything we want, like a Gale or whatever else, as I keep saying. I'll keep saying it over and over. You can do actually like whatever you want. Applications for your kick are the same thing. If you get like a stun or something, you can kick your target afterwards to float them, if you want to skill people like that. So with Blind Slash, this skill here, I told you not to pick up unless you want to try it out in some PvP scenarios. It's another float with an air attack. You can fit it into a lot of floats like that. So it's going to apply air attack. Like if it's where you're hitting your 2.0 CC chain and it's not going to apply floating, you can use it for the air attack bonus. Some people do this like that for like a really exaggerated air attack combo. You can do that if you want. Personally, I think it's a bit too much. But if you want to get a little bit freaky with it, then yeah, you can do that if you really want. You can use it out of C-swaps, out of Fiery Angel. You can use it out of a Dragon Bite for very, very fast, like unreactable float, like that. You saw how fast that was. I do a Dragon Bite into a float, and they're on the ground. Most people don't even know what the hell happened when you hit them with that. I actually don't even think they can see it half the time. Very, very fast skill. However, if you dash out of it too fast, like I just did, it's not going to apply the float. So just make sure it connects like that. Okay, so some arrow things you can do. This is a trick I picked up from Rick, who's a KR Musa. And like half a year ago, I was talking to him. Well, not really talking to him because we don't speak the same language. He's Korean. But we were communicating through like combo gifs that we were sending each other so that we could understand things. But he showed me how to do this cancel with evasive shot and stubbed arrow, the charge one, which I do all the time. It's really good and people never expect it. I've never seen anyone else use this really besides me on NA. I'm sure some other people use it. I mean, it's not like a big secret, but it's really, really good. It's really, really fast. So how you do it is you do a stub arrow and then you do an evasive shot to the right or left, and then you instantly input your charged arrow. And it's one of those special occasions I told you where you do a stiffness and then it's like a knockback actually. So you do a stiffness into a knockback, which is a 1.7, and then you can follow up with anything you want afterwards. So you can even bomb shot too. So what it's going to look like is this. Just like that. You see the stub arrow went off. The evasive shot has no CC on it. Where's the stub arrow at here? Or no, the evasive shot has no CC. This is a knockback, and this is a stiffness. So do it again. Looks like that. And then you can follow up, like float the person, whatever you want to do, or you can just bomb shot after it. Sometimes we do this, and you can actually do a lot of damage from someone from range. You can keep them CC'd. It's useful for having a teammate follow up. Our arrows are really good, so be sure to use them all the time when you can. A few other cool things you can do. You can do a side C swap, so D and C, right? Or the other way, A and C, like this. So that gives us our lingering forward guard, right? The C swap is a forward guard, so you can do that into our charged arrow here, but the roll evasion, which gives you an iframe. So for an awakening, right, we can side C swap forward guard into an iframe like that and CC the opponent. A useful thing to do to get out of your charged arrow, whenever you're going to use your charged arrow, you can immediately dash when you shoot it, and you can get up to people really fast when you use the thing. So I can charge arrow and I'm straight in somebody's face right afterwards. As far as some other things to mouse move, I showed that you can like mouse move your backstep slash to whatever direction you want to. Like you can mouse move anything you want, it's just most things are not useful to mouse move, right? But we do have some things. So Crust Crusher, you can move your forward guard frame, as well as foul plays anywhere you want. It also allows you to chase people that are trying to maneuver around it. You can mouse move Fiery Angel, which can be actually really useful. I use it a lot in 1v1s or for getting good positions on people, because you can get behind them and do like really weird stuff like float them from behind, and you can also transition right into a super armor. So I can Fiery Angel into Backflow, now I'm sitting in an SA, right? Instead of going forward, you can go backwards to get away from people, stuff like that. Anything else mouse moving like Blind Thrust or DB, those are harder to do and more ping based. I can't do it. I play with like 110 ping, which makes it near impossible for me to really utilize that kind of stuff. And you don't need to do the Blind Thrust one anyways. You can mouse move it. You can just camera turn the entire skill by just moving your camera when you input it. Now for catching people in 1v1s, it's just going to come down to experience. The best way for you to learn is to go and fight people. Don't be afraid to lose. The most I've learned is when I'm losing. Fight people better than you all the time. It's the only way you're going to get better, right? Beating someone's ass over and over, you're probably not learning anything, and you're more likely to practice bad habits. So if you're on NA, Velia 4 is a good place to learn. Yeah, so let's talk about some things. So a lot of catches you'll get from, as playing Musa, are going to be cross-ups on people. So if this is an opponent here, right, I'll look to get like blind thrusts on people and dragon bite whenever I can. So if we're going to try to CC this guy, and he's like sitting in a block or something, whatever it may be, we got arrows, we got our blind thrust DB, we got our bomb shot, we have a lot of things we can CC them with. So a lot of times you get people really quickly is with a blind thrust and then a dragon bite to their side or their back, which is a stiffness into a stun, right? Or you can do stuff like catch someone off guard with a bomb arrow, blind thrust, float them real fast, stuff like that. As far as SA trading on top of people, so when you're in a scenario where you're fighting a class that has a grab, there's that immediate imminent danger of just being grabbed whenever you're doing anything, right? So Lawns particularly are one of our strongest, or like our most difficult matchup in my opinion. They can sit pretty much still in SAs, they can rotate them over and over, and they have a ranged AoE grab, which is really annoying, which will catch you through like desyncy chases or whatever else you're doing. And it makes it really scary to just use an SA on top of someone, right? So a lot of times I use them to the side. So the good thing about Musa's Awakening is we have really long arcing attacks, like our below the belt. We can hit people from distance. Our crosscut, we can hit people from the side as well as like backflow, right? So just use your distance and know when it's safe to do things, right? You probably don't want to sit in front of a warrior and do all of this, your whole SA rotation on top of the guy, right? He's just going to grab you, throw you on the ground, and kill you. Yeah, just be wary about that. That'll come with like experience and just feeling people out. Some people, you can abuse them if they're not doing what they should be doing to punish you. But yeah, just practice good habits and know when and when you shouldn't be using certain things against certain classes. I haven't really released this to everyone until now. It's still pretty unfinished, but I have showed this to the owners of the official Musa Discord and people in Blader Pub, as well as people in a lot of other people that I wanted to get their opinions on, other good Musas and just good people in other classes. And a lot of people have approved of this and said it was pretty good. I do plan on developing this. It's just really time consuming. There's a lot of information in here, and it's probably pretty overwhelming for the most part if you are a new player. I go into a lot of detail on how to catch and react to certain classes in a lot of different scenarios, and I plan on to continue expanding on it. There are a lot of people who helped me with identifying the openings, like knowing, so I wanted to make sure I knew exactly what I was talking about, right? I don't like talking about things if I don't have any idea what I'm talking about. So everything in here is verifiable. I guarantee it. I put a lot of time into all of these things. This is all the experience I have with classes over like 3 years and what I think about the matchups. The numbers, like the difficulty matchups, it doesn't really matter. That's just kind of when I graded it based on my own opinion. It's not on like how many matches I've won lost, like I say here. It's just like our ranking, if people want to look at that. But it's basically based upon our potential and ability to outperform that class, like for that class to outperform us against our kit as a Musa. But yeah, there's a lot in here. So my learning tips here, I think these are really important, helped me a lot. First thing is to understand why you died or you got punished and try not to repeat the same mistakes. So a lot of people in 1v1s, I fight with a lot of people in 1v1s and tutor them on Musa. And I also get a lot of help from other Musas as well. But the main thing is you don't want to repeat the same mistakes. So know why you died, how you got exploited, and what you can do to make sure that doesn't happen again, right? Don't let your opponent get comfortable. One of the main things for you getting like swept or destroyed in a 1v1 is you let your opponent get comfortable to doing whatever they want, and you know they're just taking advantage of you and they're playing really, really fast. So learn their patterns, and if they're setting the speed, try to change the speed yourself. Try to make them play to you instead of you playing to them. Learn their patterns. If they're repeating the same initiations, CC attempts, stuff like that, it ties into the same, not trying to repeat the same mistakes, right? Understanding what you got CC'd, or understanding when you get CC'd, it's because you did something incorrectly, right? Now, I know a lot of times you want to blame stuff on servers and lag and desync, which is true for the most part. But a lot of the time, when you get CC'd, it's because you did something wrong, right? A lot of people think every SA has no gaps. That is not the case. I talk to people all the time that have no idea that, the beginning instance of Below the Belt and Crosscut are naked. So as soon as you start those skills, they are naked and you can get CC'd in all of them. People don't know there's gaps in your forward guards and stuff like that. It's all things you have to learn about your own class, about Musa as well, and understand that it's more than likely your own fault that you got CC'd. So you got to live with that. When learning matchups and what skills do, always remember that you're better off by getting behind your opponent no matter what. So for a lot of you, a lot of the stuff I showed you may be overwhelming or take some time to learn, but you really can't go wrong without maneuvering your opponent and getting behind them, right? So you're rewarded from back attacks for, obviously your opponent can't react to you in the front. Most skills shoot out of the front of the character, and you also get back attack procs, which is more damage. So, try to CC people from the back. If you can outmaneuver them, you're playing one of the fastest classes in the game. Another thing is don't let people get your back for the same reasons. And a slowed Musa is a dead Musa, so you don't want to eat a lot of CCs, or debuffs, I mean, and then try to do stuff off of those debuffs. So if you get hit with a Gravedigger from a Warrior, for example, which is a crazy 30% attack speed and movement speed slow, it's probably not a good idea to go and try to get in that guy's face and try to CC him. Just stall it out and do the best you can to stay alive until the duration ends. And the only way to get better is by practicing. So with that being said, I hope this complete guide here, one of the more complete guides I've done, is useful to you all. And I'll have all of this in the description. As I said before, if you feel there's things I should have talked about more, or maybe remove or include, feel free to add them into the description. I'd love to respond to your guys' stuff, your comments and concerns. And yeah, wish you the best of luck. If you ever need help on Musa or you want to fight, if you happen to be on North America, I'm down to fight you guys all the time. I play this game every single day. So, feel more than free to reach out to me, and I'll do whatever I can to help you. And best of luck. Take care.